Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is where we talk about finances, how it's affecting you. And today I got a really interesting topic for you because I just got this comment right here. Let's read it. So this comment is saying, I normally get about 100 calls a week. And this year we're down to about 10 calls a week. I'm not seeing times this bad since 2008 to 13. The only way someone could be doing better than before would be if they're a business owner or selling gold, or maybe just lie. So, what does that mean? Let's decipher that. So, this person, I don't know if it's a woman or a guy or whatever, but this person literally had a decrease of 90% of inbound leads. So, when you have a decrease of 90% of inbound leads, that is going to hurt your bottom line. That is really stinging you, because now what you got to do is to keep up the same volume. Let's say you needed 10 clients a week to be profitable, to keep a little money in your bank account, to keep the operations going. And when you get 100 calls, you maybe need 5% conversion rate into clients, and then you get another 5 on top of that, with outbound marketing or referrals or something like it. But now you only get 10 calls a week. So how do you close all of these 10 people? You just can't do it. You just can't do it. And so I asked the follow-up question is, how many of these people actually convert into sales? And how many people have the money objection? Because I know Allison, my wife, has had a coaching business, and we did consulting on the side, and it's really interesting to see the money objection that people had and the reasons why they didn't sign up. So they're hurting really bad, and they can't get another job because the job market's just not that great. But they can't spend that much money on their lifestyle as they used to, just because it's been so bad with the economy. And people for some reason just don't get it. I don't see people adjusting their spending. I don't see people go out to eat less. I still see that everything's crowded. And that is one reason why credit card debt's so high. But where are they cutting? They're probably cutting on some kind of necessities or something else that they just don't want to pay. I see foreclosures go up, repos go up. So all these people that purchased houses or purchased these expensive cars over MSRP, these Tahoes and all these nice BMWs, are now in a buttload of hurt. And now car prices came down, and I feel like this is just not in touch with reality. And speaking about not in touch with reality, has anybody of you guys seen the Jamie Dimon interview on the podcast? This guy needs to be smacked upside the head with a paddle. Like literally, he's saying that people are still doing fine, if there's still COVID money left over. So if you're watching this video, please post in a comment if you still have COVID money left over. And he's saying that consumer spending's doing great, everything is fine, and that there's nothing to worry about. The consumer's strong, and all this crazy other stuff that he's talking about in his podcast interview, so out of touch of reality that it just wanted to make me puke in a bucket. But he's saying it, and he's like, hey, we got millions of clients of data to back this up. And he's like, oh, the consumer's doing great, house prices are up, and stocks are up, and all this kind of stuff, and asset prices are up. And I'm looking at it, just because stuff is up doesn't mean that people have more money. Just because house goes up in value, that doesn't really affect me. That doesn't really make my life better. It doesn't really provide food on the table. It doesn't really do a whole lot to me, besides telling people that are asking over lunch or dinner, how much your house worth? But these conversations nobody's interested in, so it doesn't really matter at all. So when they say, oh, asset prices are up, that means absolutely nothing. For people that retire, yes. For everybody else, no. And then with all these fast food workers that are making now $20 an hour and all this kind of crazy stuff, it's just not how it's supposed to be. And this guy said he hasn't seen worse times like this from 2008 to 2013. So I did not live in the US during that time. I lived in Switzerland. So in Switzerland, I was working, but I didn't really feel that much of a pain as people did here. I don't know, because the Swiss economy is more sheltered, maybe. I can't really give you a good reason um, why we weren't that affected. But yeah, it's been crazy. So with all these things and all the stuff happening in the world, where these CEOs making millions of dollars, making billions of profit, and telling the common folks, go go away, go away. You're ruining my day with your poor presence. And I'm just looking at it like, oh my gosh, we're so out of touch with reality. There's almost no middle class. We robbed the middle class of everything. And now we're just here looking at it, and we're talking about how bad China is, how bad Europe's doing, how bad Japan's doing. And then we're just sitting here laughing and saying, haha, that sucks for them, but we're doing great. Then another person in the comments said, oh, we have such big asset bubbles, we're so much in debt and we're giving this money away. Yeah. And I saw another podcast the other day, I think with Stephen Graham, who said, why do we need to pay taxes if we can just print more money? Why don't we just let everybody not pay taxes and we just print the taxes and just do something, and pass it on to the next generation? And that's a whole nother issue about why, the tax stuff is so messed up. Yeah, it's discouraging for people to make a living right now, and for everything to just see all these people struggle so much to make even the house payments. So what I'm curious to know is that in Switzerland, where I grew up, they have something called nonprofit housing. So what that means is that you basically get you can buy into like a community, where they were into a company that would actually like rent you an apartment, but you got to buy in. So you buy in and you pay, I don't know, $10,000-$15,000, and it's almost like a note, where you get like a note, and then like you buy a CD or something like it into this organization. It's nonprofit, and so the rent is pretty cheap. So you can then just rent there for pretty cheap, in compared to what it normally rents. So my brother's part of one of those, and called nonprofit housing, and it's not like a socialized thing. It still needs to make money. The houses are nice, the flats are nice, and so he paid $10,000, and then he now gets cheaper rent, because they can't jack up the rent, because they can only show so much in profits every year, and there's laws around that. And so in the US, we're not like that. We have these big corporations that come in, that buy up everything and just jack up the rent, and then pass it down to the small guy and say, this is, you just got to deal with it. And then when your rent is $2,000 a month and you're making $60,000 a year, you're not going to be calling that guy earlier with his business saying, hey, I need something. Can you help me install a new fridge or a new washer dryer? No, you'll get it repaired, or you go to a laundromat and just leave them broken, because you just don't have the money. And I feel like us Americans, we're so hard on other countries. So like we're so like, oh, they're not doing it right. They're not doing it right. But when we look at our stuff, we should fix our problems here first. We should really, really start looking at what's wrong with us, and that there's people that can't afford to live, can't can't make house payments, can't afford car payments, cars getting repoed. And once that cycle starts, where stuff starts to get repoed, you're in a downward spiral. And it'd be interesting to see how long it takes you to recover from that. So when you have a tragic incident where your car's getting repoed, you can't make your mortgage payment, you get foreclosed on, how long does it take for you to recover emotionally, financially, and everything else? So I know that when you file for bankruptcy, I think it says on your credit report 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. But everything after that, after 7 years, how long does it take you to financially recover? How long how long till you're like, okay, I'm good now again. I got another house, I'm doing great, and I can, you know, live on and, continue with my life as I did beforehand. So, yeah, we are in desperate times. We are in times that I haven't seen before. So, we are going to cap it for this video. I'd really appreciate everybody watching. If you followed for so long, please subscribe so you see more content like this. Post a comment and we will chat about it. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks.